A woman shot, one person in custody. What we know about the shooting that left evidence markers scattered in a Raleigh street.
An alarming number of crashes involving these. One just this morning. Are school bus crashes going up? We'll tell you what the data shows.
I'm tracking the return of much needed rain. Wind showers will be the heaviest and when cool fall temperatures return.
A woman shot, one person in custody, an active scene on Pecan Road in Raleigh tonight. Thanks for being here at 7 o'clock. I'm Ashley Rowe.
And I'm Dan Haggerty. Sky 5 over this scene here this afternoon. Police saying this call came in around 5 o'clock. We're told the woman who was shot went to the hospital.
Eric Miller joins us now live in the WRAL breaking news tracker. Eric, police starting to clear that scene there now. You also talked to a few neighbors. Bring us up to speed.
Ashley, literally just within the last 2 minutes, officers started taking this crime scene tape down after 2 hours on this scene. Just before that, they started picking up evidence markers and pieces of evidence that were scattered here right along the side of Pecan Road. This is Pecan in between South Wilmington and South Saunders. All of this playing out right around 5 this afternoon. Neighbors tell us they saw two people walking down the street having an argument. They got to this spot out front of this home. A man then pulled out a gun, fired off several shots, and then one neighbor tells us he very quickly started running away. Raleigh police say it was a woman that was injured. She was rushed to the hospital. She is expected to recover. They say a short time later they did arrest a person here. They haven't confirmed that person's identity, said what charges they may be facing, or said specifically what police believe led up to this shooting here. We can tell you just while we've been on this scene, watching the forensics team members, watching officers work, we have seen multiple shell casings, at least 3 that were marked out by members of the forensics team. We also saw that forensics team down here on the ground picking up bottles, picking up drink canisters, and then dusting those for fingerprints. This is an active investigation. We'll be staying on top of it, bringing any updates as we get them. In Raleigh, Eric Miller, WRAL News.
All right, Eric, this is Brian Schrader in the WRAL Live Center, and all new here at 7 o'clock. In the past 15 minutes, WRAL News has confirmed that UNC starting quarterback Gio Lopez was involved in a car crash just days before UNC's season opener. The crash report that WRAL obtained says that this happened back on August 26th at the intersection of 15501 and Highway 54 in Chapel Hill. Another driver apparently crashed into Lopez's vehicle. That other driver was cited. Lopez was taken to the hospital, transported by ambulance. Now, it was just 5 days later, on September 1st, that UNC played Texas Christian, and Lopez had to leave in the third quarter with a back injury. It's unclear if the crash had any impact on his performance. Now, this comes as WRAL has some new reporting tonight only on WRAL News. Sources close to the UNC football program describe a divided locker room poorly managed by head coach Bill Belichick and his staff. You can read more about the accusations in the main spot on the homepage at WRAL.com and also in the WRAL News app.
Hey, another highlight from a difficult year for UNC, or a low light in this case, right? So the temperatures are going to dip into the 50s this week. Mike, looks like we're going to get some rain with that, too.
Yeah, we got a transformation on the way. First, we have the warm air that we had today. Then the front comes in on Wednesday. And then once the front passes, we get the cooler air in here. Maybe only a high in the 60s on Thursday with those morning lows, as Dan mentioned, back into the 50s. So here comes the front. It's much needed rain. 8 a.m. on Wednesday, we wake up to cloudy skies, mostly cloudy skies. We're looking at rain roughly from about noon to about 6 o'clock. And this isn't going to be widespread rain. Not everybody's going to see it, but there will be showers and perhaps a thunderstorm or two. Not anticipating any severe weather. So by 3, 4, 5 o'clock during the time the kids come home from school and maybe you're coming home from work, there will be a bit of rain in the area. We go through time, stop this at 6 o'clock. It looks like the bulk of the showers and storms are in our far eastern counties. We're still left with some cloud cover. And then by 8 o'clock, the rain's out of the area. We see the winds picking up, the temperatures dipping. Coming up in just a few minutes, I'll tell you how cool it will be. Plus, tracking a coastal low potentially developing this weekend. It's coming up.
All right, Mike. 3 students have minor injuries after a school bus crashed in Wake County this morning. This is at least the 5th crash involving a school bus in our area in the last 2 weeks. WRAL's Carly Haynes dug into the data to find out if this is part of a larger trend.
National data suggests that crashes involving school buses only account for less than 1% of total crashes. But since it feels like there have been more recently, we looked into what the numbers are showing. A drive to school this morning ended like this.
Our bus driver ran over it, and the bus went up in the air, and we started shaking, and then we swerved into the side of the road. 3
students had minor injuries when a Wake County school bus hit this part of a tree and swerved into a ditch. It's the 5th school bus crash WRAL has covered in just 2 weeks.
They're obviously higher than we wish they would be.
We spoke with North Carolina's DMV, which trains and recertifies school bus drivers.
We want to make sure that anybody that we license to do that is properly trained to be able to do that job.
According to Department of Transportation data, school bus crashes have slightly increased since 2022, though fatal ones have decreased. Last year, there was a total of 1,125 crashes, 3 of them deadly.
School buses are incredibly safe. And we have statistics both nationally and in North Carolina to prove that. But they're not foolproof.
Mark Ezel with the governor's highway safety program said there's a reason it feels like there are more recently.
We obviously see more during the time that the school year is starting, around this season. And then in addition to that, we've also got, the seasons changing, and as a result, daylight savings time is coming.
Those school bus crashes, he says, aren't just a school bus problem. It's also up to commuters to keep students safe. Transportation officials say buses tend to be safer because of their big size, flashing lights, and energy-absorbing seats. Carly Haynes, WRAL News, Raleigh.
So you heard the director of the governor's highway safety program say school buses are safe and that there are statistics to prove it. Check out these numbers. Federal data show there is 1 death for every 500 million miles a school bus travels. The number for regular cars is about 8. That means school buses are nearly 8 times safer than passenger cars. You might think, how can that be true? School buses don't even have seat belts. You're right, they don't, but that doesn't mean that they aren't safe. School buses use something called compartmentalization. The seats are spaced very close together, and the seat backs are very high, especially for little kids. They're also made with energy-absorbing material, so if a bus gets into a crash, there's limited range for movement on impact. For the most part, this design has worked. In 2023, 128 people died from crashes involving a school bus. Just 9 of them were actually students on the bus, but that number also represents 9 families, of course, 9 communities forever changed. When it comes to our kids, 9 is too many, and that's why in 2015, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration recommended seatbelts on school buses for the very first time. The National Transportation Safety Board repeated the recommendation in 2022 after a 7-year-old died in a school bus crash in Tennessee. So again, why are we telling you all of this? Well, school buses are safe, but crashes happen. Most times, nobody on the bus gets hurt. Sometimes they do. Being informed about these rare exceptions can help us find ways to make them even more rare and maybe, hopefully, one day, eliminated.
It is time to take another trip into the in-depth mailbag. Got lots and lots of questions, a lot about homes going into the ocean and some others about trash going into our landfills. Why do those homes keep falling into the waves? And what can we do about the endless piles of garbage in our landfills? We're going to talk about both after the break. But first, let's take a look ahead at some of the news stories that we have on our radar for you this week. Tomorrow marks 2 years since the October 7th Hamas attack. While a peace deal still hasn't been made, negotiations are underway tonight in Egypt.
On Wednesday, another new Wake County school will be opening. Bowling Road Elementary will open its doors in Fuquay-Varina.
And on Thursday, the Carolina Hurricanes will play their first regular season game. It's a 7:30 p.m. game at home against the New Jersey Devils. And on Friday, the Nobel Peace Prize winner will be announced. There is no official nominee list, but we'll keep you informed. We're back after this. Let's Let's get right to it. We got a lot of ground to cover in tonight's mailbag. I want to start with a flurry of questions that we got after 9 homes fell into the waves at the Outer Banks. Here is a quick montage for you. One home after another, falling into the water, into the ocean. A few in Buxton, another one in Rodanthe. This debris then getting spread all up and down the beach, closing it down to visitors while everything gets cleaned up. So many questions about this. Beth asked, who cleans it up? Steve, who pays for the cleanup? Rachel, why aren't they demolished? And Mary Jo, are there no laws requiring demolition? So these are all great questions, and they are all questions we have answered before. We have covered this a few times, done a couple of segments right here in depth, and you can check those out on the WRAL YouTube page. But since you're here right now, why don't we do just a quick recap for you? So first, Beth's question, who cleans it up? Well, the homeowners are really on the hook for the cleanup, but, and this gets a little murky, because these homes fall into public beaches and into the ocean, sending debris miles down the coast complicates things. That's when the government then steps in to clean it up. And it's a combination of the National Park Service and some contractors hired by county government, which means the answer to Steve's question, who pays for the cleanup? Well, sometimes, lots of times, most of the time, it's you and me, the taxpayer. But why does it always come to this? Or as Rachel put it, why aren't the homes demolished before they can collapse? Well, sometimes they are. Earlier this year, one home was moved, another one was demolished. But in most cases, the homes are left there until they collapse because of money. You see, it is expensive, very expensive, to demolish or relocate these oceanfront homes. Now, the National Park Service will help out sometimes. In 2023, they used a special fund to buy 2 homes. They paid $700,000 to do this, and those homes were then demolished before they could pollute the beach. But again, in most cases, the homeowners are forced to shell out the money themselves. Private insurance and federal flood insurance, they will not cover this cost, not to demolish or relocate a home. So oftentimes, really the only compensation will come after the house is demolished by the waves, falls into the ocean, and then insurance will pay out. Which brings us to Mary Jo's question. Are there laws requiring demolition so that they don't reach that point or have that part of the equation where homeowners are incentivized to leave their homes there? And no, there are no laws. But if you think about it, that would be kind of unfair, right? I mean, the government forcing homeowners to demolish or relocate their home. And that's something that lots of people don't have the money to do. They just can't afford it. And then the government's not going to help them to offset that cost. But a pair of congressmen from North Carolina think they do have the answer. Representatives Greg Murphy and Don Davis, a Republican and Democrat working across the aisle, they filed a bill authorizing the National Flood Insurance Program to give payouts to people so they can demolish or relocate their home before it is destroyed. That bill is stuck in committee, and it may be that way for a while before it moves forward, as Congress is a little bit preoccupied right now with that whole government shutdown thing. But if the bill does get a vote, we will let you know. We'll be watching it. All right, moving on to the emails about trash. We got a bunch of questions about a story of people living near that South Wake County landfill. Breaking news, it smells terrible. But this was a great reminder of where our trash actually goes. A viewer named Robert saw the story and wrote in and said, I'd like to learn more about waste to energy. So this is a fascinating process. Waste to energy is possible. We can convert water bottles, grocery bags, banana peels, packing peanuts, pizza boxes, the takeout container that you forgot about, and everything else into electricity or even into fuel. Maybe some of you have seen the social media videos of a guy in Georgia who turns plastic into gasoline in his backyard.
I built this machine behind me so I can make gasoline for $0 a gallon from plastic waste. Let's go.
So that is Julian Brown. He built a machine that converts plastic garbage into fuel. He says labs have tested it out. They claim that it works. Now, to be clear, he did not invent the plastic to fuel process, but he did create or claims to create a more efficient way to do it. We'll come back to that in just a moment. But there is a real demand for this sort of thing all over the world. In 2022, waste to energy facilities were a $42 billion global industry. They take in 15% of the world's trash. The most popular model, I should say, turns trash into electricity. Now, on average, one facility can create 34 megawatts. That's enough to power around 22,000 homes. Now, generally, the way it works is the trash is incinerated. That creates steam. That steam turns a turbine-driven generator, creating electricity, which then goes out onto the grid. There are hundreds of these facilities in China and India, but there are only around 60 in the United States. Why? Why is that? Well, there are several drawbacks with waste-to-energy plants. Emissions, for one, air quality, and that old not in my backyard kind of thing. Also, the big one, say it with me now, money. It seems to be a common theme in a lot of these segments that we do. A landfill the size of the one, say, we have in South Wake County, that costs about $150 million to build and maintain. Compare that to a waste-to-energy plant built recently in Palm Beach, Florida, back in 2015. That cost $672 million, more than 4 times the cost of a landfill, and you'd have to burn lots and lots of garbage to make up that cost. Waste-to-energy is expensive, very, very expensive. But that could change one day, and it brings us back to Julian Brown, the guy converting plastic into fuel in his backyard. Like I said, he didn't discover the process. He discovered a new way to do it. His machine is special because it uses solar energy and microwaves to break down the trash, making the whole process more efficient and potentially less expensive. Researchers out of Saudi Arabia published a study earlier this year. They looked at a similar process and found it to be, quote, a promising approach for the sustainable management of plastic waste. Waste-to-energy as a large-scale alternative, though, is still many years away. Until a cheaper, easier process moves from the backyard to a big business, we'll keep putting trash where we've put it for thousands of years, in a hole in the ground. Tell me your thoughts on these topics. Send me an email, dan@WRAL.com. What should we be covering on this segment here at 7 o'clock? Tell me what's on your mind, and we will go in depth.
I want to tour that guy's backyard. That's impressive.
It very much is.
Mike, I went to go pick up some pumpkins at a local farm yesterday, and boy, it was warm. It's going to be like that for a few days.
Yeah, we had 84 today, both in Raleigh and Fayetteville. Tomorrow has the potential to be even warmer, mid to upper 80s.
Okay.
And then we've got the big crash coming. Thursday's high can only be in the 60s. Yeah, we got a big change coming along. But I hope you enjoyed the warm weather. If you're a warm weather fan, here's how we warm up tomorrow, hour by hour. 79 at lunchtime, 85 at least. It has the potential to go to 86, maybe 87, and there could be some upper 80s all across our southern counties. Partly cloudy skies are expected in the afternoon and only a 20% chance for a shower. Beautiful sunset in progress, 77 right now. We have a moonrise on the east side of the horizon. It's the supermoon that will be completely full at 10:48 this evening. So if you have a chance, check it out. The dew point is at 58. Tomorrow's dew point should be more in the 60s across the area, even more so on Wednesday with our cold front coming in. And then once the front moves on by, dew points on Thursday could crash into the 30s. That would be some extremely dry air. That's what the American model is suggesting. So let's talk about what's ahead. We've got our cold front that passes on Wednesday. We addressed that at the top of the newscast. Showers, possible thunderstorms. Once the front passes, the warm air is out, the cool air is in. And for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the way we see it right now, temperatures will be below normal. 50s for highs, 60s and 70s for lows. Here you go. So we have 62 tonight, 85 tomorrow, 67 Wednesday morning, 78 the high. We've got the front coming in, cloud showers, possible storms, the transition day, and then the cooler weather. 53 in the morning on Thursday, 69 the high. That comes with mostly sunny skies. That's not with cloud cover. And then Friday and Saturday, our highs hover around 70, and all these days are breezy due to the possibility of a coastal low forming. Basically what happens, that front that's passing on by will stall offshore. We have an upper level trough coming in, energizing that front, helping to develop an area of low pressure. Now, the European model suggests yesterday that it could become a nor'easter and move up the east coast. Now it's not doing that. Apparently the upper level low could get cut off from the main jet stream like we had that potential a few weeks ago. This kind of looks similar. So the American model's picking up on it, the European model's picking up on it, but the timing, location is not determined just yet, and the amount of rain we could see as well. But if this low does form, you're talking about a detrimental impact at the coast again. Winds could gust up to 50 miles per hour. We could have heavy surf hit the outer banks. More houses could come down. So this is not something we want to see. This is a potential, so keep checking back. It'll likely change as we go over the next few days. So this is the way we see it right now. 85 tomorrow, 78 on Wednesday. The Canes are in town, and we'll have great tailgating weather with a high of only 69. Friday's mostly cloudy, and then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, maybe even Tuesday of next week could feature rain, cooler temperatures, and very breezy conditions. Again, check back because we'll have, I'm sure, more updates to come.
Yep, lots to follow there. Thanks, Mike. A little Monday motivation from a little girl out of Oxford. She's on the list for a heart transplant, but her condition is not dimming the positive light she brings her family. Maybe her story will lift your spirits too. Our one last thing is after the break. One last thing. A little girl from Oxford got a big surprise this weekend. Make-A-Wish is sending 3-year-old, this cutie, Isis Bay, and her family of 14 to Disney World. Ever since she was born, she's been fighting heart problems. She gets treatment at Duke Health, and she is on the list for a heart transplant.
More than 2,100 children are waiting for organ transplants across the country. 1 in 4 is under 5 years old.
She surprised all the doctors. She never needed a single day of any type of therapy. She green checked every speech, PT, OT, everything. She's remarkable.
So that's Deanna Gardner. That's the little girl's grandmother who's also raising her. And she is pretty remarkable herself. Gardner is raising 7 children in her house. And on top of that, she operates local blessing boxes, as well as helping feed and clothe families in Granville County.
You know, a lot of times, you know, my family will say, aren't you tired? Or, you know, we went through several things here recently and I could take a day off, but I still, you know, I know they need me. And so it's just a joy to bring things to a community that needs that extra love.
Oh, we need more of her in the world. That's amazing.
There's some special people out there.
Isis, her grandmother, and the whole family will go to Disney later this month.
Have fun.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for making WRAL your choice for local news.
Our next newscast is at 10 o'clock on Fox 50 and back here at 11 on WRAL. Have a good night.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.